the thumbs up, that's a like. Then hit subscribe and hit that bell. Watch my whole video. I've always loved creating things that have wings. I've done butterflies, I've done birds, but I've never created an angel. So if you want to see how I can create an angel in virtual reality, you need to just watch. This summer for my family has been a little tragic. We've had a loss of 4 members, even a cat. And it's put me in a way where I start thinking about my mortality and what's going to happen. And naturally, I think about heaven. I think about angels. I've always loved the image of angels. I've loved looking at fountains and little pooties and cherubs. But then again, there are other images of angels that are very strong and mighty. So I wanted to create an angel whose face and body was very obscure, with a giant, moving, flowing wingspan. Filled with various colors, floating in a background that is also moving and flowing with those colors in and out of the wings and coming in and out of the background. This is one of the reasons why I like working in VR, especially using OpenBrush, because of it being a 3-dimensional medium. It's almost like I'm building a sculpture or I'm building a set. Although sometimes I think I need to move it around, and I end up moving around and sometimes working from in back and inside. But one of the difficult things about working in this medium is knowing where the viewer is able to see what I'm doing, and to make sure that my artwork is centered. And a lot of times in VR you can't tell. Sometimes you can, sometimes you do. That's why it pays to have a lot of film, a lot of video to pick from, so you can find your best shots. This brush that I'm using now, I love it, especially the way that the colors flow. Almost, it flows like a river. Sometimes it flows so much I have to go back in and calm it down a little bit, because it's starting to take away from my main subject, which is my angel. I love that very thin brush. It makes those little jittery lines that I have outlining the angel's body. It's almost like a little electric shock. There's so many different tools that you can use in this. And I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I just wanna throw the colors and shapes down and not worry about making something that looks like something, because I just enjoy working with these different brushes and the things that you can do with them. And I'm gonna tell you, see, my studio isn't very big, but when you work in VR, you can make your studio, you can make your art smaller than it actually is, you can make it bigger than it actually is, and then you can make it so big that it's almost like 2 and 3 stories tall. It's monumental. And I hadn't done anything using VR for a while, so I had to get used to it again. And when you don't use it in a while, you lose it. Beside that, everything needs to be updated. If you don't realize, there are about, to do what I do, I have about 4 different programs going simultaneously while I'm creating this. And I got to make sure that everything is working together. But when it does, boom. And the only other thing is, your hands aren't dirty. I used to be the artist in the studio with the dirtiest clothes. They weren't dirty, they were filled with paint. My hands were always filled with paint. And once I became a teacher, I started to wear out clothes because I was getting stuff on my clothes. I became a teacher that wears lab coats. And I grew into a teacher that has become very neat, at least in appearance. I have a studio now that's so filled with stuff that my wife's about to put me out the house. And I need to do something about it, especially before I go back to work. But this is not the first or the last type of angel or deity that I plan on doing. I have one that's right now in the box that I started working on during my vacation. And she's something else. So I hope that you come and see what I've done this week and enjoy it. But I want to tell you, next week, please come and see Aya, the statue of Aya. I'm going to have pictures of the real statue, and then I'm going to show you the artwork that I did while being inspired by her. And she must be, in reality, she must be about 3 stories tall, made out of bamboo, sitting in a pool of water. But I like how my angel is floating around in her universe. It's like she has become one with it. All right, now remember, do something for me. Subscribe, like, and if you really like it, share it with a friend and come back and see me again.